Hello all, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a review of the R.I.P Man, which is a film directed by Jamie Langlands and it runs for 1 hour and 33 minutes. So the storyline goes, a serial killer with a rare oral condition begins to target young adults and removes a single tooth from each victim. Can a family's kept secret unfold the truth and help prevent the murders from continuing? So in the town of Brighton in East Sussex in the UK, there is a serial killer on the loose called the R.I.P Man. People are being picked off one by one, and there doesn't seem to be any way to stop him as he exacts his revenge on a group of students. When one of them is murdered, it kicks off a chain of devastating events. The introduction scene really pulled me in immediately, where we're introduced to the serial killer, the R.I.P. Man, and his first victim. So, bringing forth the essential characters early on is a great way to start the film so that we know who all the important characters are. The more we learn about this killer and his infliction with anhedonia, which is a rare genetic disorder characterized by the congenial absence of all primary or permanent teeth, the more sinister the horror becomes. So, Abigail's friends, Timmy, Clarissa, Nikki, and Donnie. So they are absolutely just overwhelmed with grief after the brutal murder of their friend. We also meet Jaden, who is Abigail's boyfriend, and becomes very central to the film and also becomes a suspect. So the group of friends don't believe Jaden had anything to do with it, but the locals are suspicious and virtually shun him. I like the flashback scene that we when we get to see how the couple actually met. The tension is riveting throughout the entire film, but not in an overwhelming sense, more a feeling of dread following insidiously, like having to look over your shoulder kind of feeling. A creeping, lurking tone follows the viewer throughout the film in a brilliant way. The chattering teeth wind up toy is a significant object as it is one of the killer's signature patterns to leave them behind at the crime scene. So his reasoning behind his compulsion becomes clear the further we get into the film. And a mouth guard also becomes significant to the film, and the story behind it is very shocking. So we're introduced to some of the task force team. I really enjoyed the scenes with the police. It felt authentic. The setting was brilliant. We get to meet, so DCI Gary Mullen is the main detective investigating the murder of Abigail. I really like his character. Um, I like his characterization. Um, he's yeah, he's a well-formed character. We also meet a couple of other we meet DC Stuart Townsend, who is actually played by the director himself. And the superintendent we don't get to meet, but he's actually pressuring the team to catch a killer before he strikes again. So now they're on a deadline. So the race is on. Townsend finds a clue that kickstarts the investigation into overdrive, and it seems they could be onto something. But will they be able to save the next targets in time before the murderer strikes again? We meet the shopkeeper, Alfie Pick, who owns an antique toy shop and who happens to be familiar with the R.I.P. Man. And Mullen's gone to talk to him about the Chattering Teeth toy because it's, like I said, very significant to the film. So I like that story arc and the segue uh, into the premise of the chattering toy and where it came from and the story behind it is quite significant. So their conversation actually helps Mullen in his investigation because we discover vital information about the killer's childhood and some background information as well. That's very important in the story. Uh, so from the lead he gets from Alfie without giving anything away, Mullen ends up at the Tankers Valley Psychiatric Hospital to discuss the circumstances behind Alden Pick, aka the R.I.P Man's escape from the hospital. Mullen goes and talks to Dr. Huxley, who explains more about this clan called the Dentist Clan or the Dentist Cult, which is the killer's heavily involved in. And while we're there at the psychiatric hospital, we also meet a main player who becomes central later on, Chaz Porter. And man, is he delusional or what? Um, Anyway, Mullen finally gets to talk to the healthcare manager, Ray Eagle Peterson, who hands him something in a box that's got some crucial items inside it that might or might not help police to locate the killer. So as the story unravels, we learn more about the Dentist clan and the meaning behind their existence and how they operated back in ancient times. So that's a nice side story that turns into a main story. Um, and it adds texture and flesh and layering and all those beautiful stuff to the storyline and the overall plot. Um, so from there, this prompts Mullen and D.I. Dale Thomas to visit Deborah Slattery and her husband Clive, who just so happened to be the parents of Donnie, who is Abigail's close friend. So when we get to realize how R.I.P. Man is involved with this family, it's a great twist that I did not see coming and no one else would see coming either. So the pieces are falling together really nicely. So as each victim meets a grisly end, it really ramps the film up many levels. The killer is playing a cruel game, which goes to show just how diabolical this monster really is. The terror is nicely drawn out to maximize on the suspense and, of course, the mystery as to who the killer is. As he lurks around every corner, hiding in the shadows, peeking in windows, and stalking his potential victims. Those scenes are really well done. I really enjoyed them, kind of sitting on the edge of your seat moments. The ending sequence raises the intensity level again, which is it wasn't foreshadowed, so it was well, it kind of was because they were talking quite a lot about her 21st birthday coming up. So we know that something's going to happen at the 21st, but we don't know when the 21st is going to happen. So I'm quite happy that it is one of the ending pieces is the celebration. Because it brings in more horror into the film as the remaining people are lured to their untimely demise, and who is the next victim and who will come out of this alive is the penultimate question. The scene in the tomb, the killer and Donnie ups the ante, and I really love the vampire coffin at the end. So we're left with a massive cliffhanger after a massive twist, which is excellent. And as I've since heard, and as you'll see from the cliffhanger, there is going to be a sequel to this. So I'm so excited to see what happens. So overall, the scenes of horror are excellently executed to the point that they actually look authentic and truly grisly and ghastly. I really loved it. I love a good body horror. Um, so the use of both physical and special effects worked out very well and delivered us some really nice bloody murder scenes. Who doesn't love a great murder scene? The crime scenes are grueling and will gratify all horror fans. The different settings and the locations and made this feel like a bigger production than an indie production, because somewhere between an indie and a Hollywood production. Because Langlands films are quite big productions, even though they don't have a lot of characters in them, which is really good because it's good to contain the amount of characters you have. And I think that, yeah, his productions are very, very well done. The pacing in this kept the momentum going and it kept me invested to see how this is, how everything was going to work out, basically. And I enjoyed the times when we were in the killer's lair. as well because it's very revelatory, and I like the fact it was like a dungeon feel to it. Um, it goes with the serial killer trope. So the color changes also were really, really brilliant. They helped to set the mood and the tonal shifts. Same with the cinematography, which I really, really, I love cinematography in films. It's one of the most, I don't know, compelling elements that I like to focus on, and I think they did this really well. And that there were lots of different perspectives and point of views. The acting, top notch. That everybody played their roles with total commitment and dedication, uh, which you will see um, at the music as well. So that's from Outpost 3. Um, Brilliant and well chosen pieces to elaborate on the scenes, and they work together perfectly. So I highly recommend you give this one a watch. I really enjoy Jamie Langlands films. They're really epic productions. And he's just a marvelous director, basically. So, if you want to check this out, which I'm sure you will, you can find it on Prime Video and Apple TV. And while you're there, see if you can check out The Cellar. That was released in 2025 because that's another brilliant film by this director. So there you have it. That's been my review of the R.I.P Man, which I had been waiting to get my little fingers on to review, and I'm so glad I got to watch it. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Um, Lots of brilliant components to it, lots of things that there were no issues with quality or sound or acting, things I would normally point out. Like I said, the pace was really good, so it's not as if it was a slow burn or anything like that. Basically, you get in straight into it immediately as soon as the film starts. So it's a bonus. So yeah, that's been my review of the R.I.P Man, which has just been released this year and which you can go and watch on Apple or Prime. So until next time, stay safe out there and we'll see you again. Bye for now.